Good afternoon again. I'm here again to introducing how to port the iOS apps to bada. So actually, we are inside our team, so try to make some of the guide and document for helping the porting up the another applications on other platforms to bada platform. So one of the things is shown up in this presentation. So I'm going to this presentation with a topic, porting iOS apps to bada. So overall, it seems very easy and neat because I will look over overview and the framework, introduce a little bit the comparison and the life cycle, event handling, and the porting on iOS UI into bada. Yeah. So everyone knows, if you know the iOS, the bada is a C++. But this session is designed to, for the iOS developer to get into the first step to the bada. So anyway, knows that. So second is Xcode, and we use Eclipse and many tools like Performance Analyzer and some others. And we have a developer side already introduced today. And it's a bit different. Need $90 a year developer program to sell your applications, but we are free with the certification cost. Just no, it's all free. And let me share the same in 7.3 and each of the app store we have. So know the frameworks. I think if you are iOS developers and first look the bada platform, I think that this is a helpful session. So framework, this is a bit different. iOS have 4 frameworks. You can hear the CoreOS, Core Service, Media Layer, and Cocoa Touch. How about the bada frameworks? We have namespaces, not actually organized like 4 layers like iOS, but most of the feature is covered, but it's spread up into the namespaces. But it seems different, and features is got covered. Like CoreOS is handled very low-level APIs of the iOS. We are having the namespace security to keep the security and security and I/O. Like accessing file and something, and network like socket connections, and locales to checking the format, and the currencies and the strings. It could be handled by the local namespaces, and the C APIs. So we provide standard C APIs and C++ also, and also we provide pthread from the bada 2.0. So I just mentioned the pthread because some of the application developer wanted to using the POSIX thread. So you can use with a pthread C APIs. And the second is core services. So in-app purchase, we are having the name is commerce. So we support the in-app purchase with this. And app frameworks handle the life cycle. And telephony call, the MMS, SMS things. And the basis is a basic function like collection classes and string classes on there. And the network, and the messaging service, and XML, and I/O. So especially DB. DB is bada DB also SQLite compatible. So that's not much of study to coming into the bada if you know. And if you have experience in iOS development. Yes. Third is media layer. It's clear. So we provide also OpenGL ES 1.1 and 2.0, and this got covered by graphics namespaces, also 2D drawings and graphics. And the medias, you can handle play the the sound and the music and the playback. That's covered with media and video also. That is also in media and content. If you wanted to handle users shared folder like my folder in a Samsung phone, so as iOS also that is in a media class. Content we covered on a content. I think in a media player framework, I think in iOS that is covered by the content namespace in bada. And text class, kind of utility of the text. The last is Cocoa Touch is, as a feeling from the name, is mostly cover the user experience side, UX side. The bada has a namespaces cover these frameworks. The UI extension I already introduced morning session, and social functionality and the location namespace including map. Actually map, you can use the map with our location namespace. And the multitasking and the network, I mentioned Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. We are giving the API in an abstract level. I mean, I usually say just several lines to connect it with the Wi-Fi and the Bluetooth to another device. And you can put the add control with our add namespaces as the iOS layer of the Cocoa Touch. And the messaging, I mean the push notifications. So it is covered our namespace messaging as a Cocoa Touch layer and secured I/O. So as the iOS support secured I/O with their options, bada also in I/O namespaces we have when you access the file or the access the TV or some keep the data, then with just one option first to do that makes the secured I/O and encrypted your data on the file, keeping safe. Okay. So I configure the API frameworks between iOS to bada. You can get a feeling the bada 2.0 mostly got covered at each of layers. And this is just I like to show about what is the bada namespace. It's many, more on them, but basically we have the many spaces like basic features, user-generated features, and service-oriented features like commerce, location, messaging, or others. Okay, frameworks. So life cycle actually is a little bit doubt why I introduced life cycle, because the two platform, iOS and bada, is a mobile platform, right? So it's almost same. But I introduced one by one. Firstly, you just tap the application icon, and the main function, the main gate is coming up, and then application initialized. That times iOS is giving the timing to do initializing of your applications with application did finish launching with options, and bada have this callback on app initializing. So your applications on app initializing callback is got called. So you do initialize and prepare your resource at this time. After that, applications going to foreground status is not shown up the iOS side, but iOS also have it. But we are giving the own foreground the event and giving the chance to handle do something for showing your UI and your applications running and do something, because its actual stage, your application is showing up on the phone. Next, event is coming up and application is running, and event is generated and delivered to your applications. Then when the application goes up the background, the state, then iOS is calling the callback. Application will resign activate, and application did finish. What's that? Sorry. Yeah, background, right? So iOS is going to background. These terms we called on on background functions, functions to your form. So in your UI, the form view, your form, you can handle the actions to take when your application in the background design the activity and getting to the background is not showing again. It will be shown up. It has a chance, but not shown up on the screen. And after that, terminate the we call on app terminating to your applications itself. So life cycle is you can catch the mobile application. So life cycle is almost same. So action is the same. Yeah, you need to initialize your app resources and load and create apps, view and window and views of the iOS, forms and frame of the bada, and retrieve save the app the registry and get launch options if you need. I said that iOS giving the options as a parameter, I think, as I know. The bada is giving the callback and giving the pointer of the app registry kind of repository to save the user's data or the preference. So you can get the information from that. And we also have it giving the API to get some options because this application can be launched by the other application or some other regions. So that options can be delivered with some API. We provide that. So I write it as if you need. So restore a previous state if you want. So background also is mobile platform always very care about the memory and the power, CPU power on that. So save user data and access the info, and stop using shared system resources like a camera and some other or heavy graphics functionality, and that kind of should be stopped, and don't ruin the usability of the users. When the user got call or need to send the SMS, but your application is blocked that kind of activity, that is not gonna certified by certification process. This is the same. And the only thing different is because multitasking, we are giving, name is different. We're giving on-app checkpointing the callback. We provide that. So with this method, you can put the code for handling when your application is terminated while your application on the background. Okay. So foreground, you should resume your applications. It's the same. And start to handle user interactions, right? And when the terminate, it's the same but a little bit different. iOS is clean up all the resources of your application, but bada is also you should clean up your resources to use for your application, but except UI. Bada platform collected the memories of the UI used in the UI framework. So you're not gonna delete UI resources, but only except UI resources, and other things you should clean up as yourself if it is used for your application. Okay. And save your status. You want to keep it for your maybe the user data and some REST browser page like something. Okay. That's the life cycle. You can feel that. Maybe you want to port up your application. Yeah, the language is different. It is kind of issues, but you can find out what point you need to put your functionality on it. So you convert your functionality and put each of the steps as the same point, initialization point, and foreground, background, and terminating. Okay. So event handling. So both platform is event driven. Yeah. So its name is different. Delegate listener. Delegate is also is handle events. Also, the listener also handle events. And delegate may have the protocols and may have another the method way of to handle maybe the UI outlets and other component. And listener has predefined virtual functions. The listener bit you need to have to implement the virtual functions. Even if you don't need it, you need to put the definition or definition of declaration you need for using the listener. That's a bit different. And the lastly, the register the listeners, we have most similar way, but the iOS is a handler, but we are using the add XX listener we have. So any of the UI controls and the classes need to handle events, then you need to finding add XX listener, maybe add sensor listener, add some list listener, some other listeners. You need to find it and attach the listener into that messages as a parameter. Okay, this iOS code I don't want to you look into. I mean, that's the way of put the iOS delegators to put it in handlers to put it in. Bada is like this way. Add sensor listener. This is code for put the sensor listener, register sensor listener to the sensor class. So we prepared add a sensor listener in a sensor management instance class. So that instance you can use to add sensor listener and put the listeners on there. So when the sensor event is generated, that listener got called with a virtual function. You implemented it. Okay. Lastly, I want to tell you about how to what's the difference of the UI and the mention about capacity of the bada, which can cover the iOS UI. So UI, firstly, you need to know very simple, basic things. Have a UI framework. iOS have a window view and tap bar navigation bar, and this kind of structure it has. So bada is also have a frame. Is kind of the skeleton of the application. Only one frame can be assigned one applications and can be attached to many forms like views of the iOS. And form can have a header and footer as a property. And UI controls, UI component, with iOS UI outlets can be added in the form or other panel, that kind of containers. This is basic structure. So I will just list out what of the UI component it has, what is can be dealt with of the UI component it. Firstly, this is not be seen easily by your site. Firstly, UI segment of the iOS can be covered by radio group and checkpoint of the bada. A UI label is a label. UI button is a button. Text field is edit field. UI switch is check button. The UI slider is a slider of the bada. And UI progress view is a progress in bada. Animation is animation. UI activity indicator view is covered by option menu of the bada. Actually, option menu is just on the way of duplicating, but you can use it still. So if you make a menu of iOS putting menu of applications using activity indicator view, then maybe this is not going to be deprecated anymore because we need to support you for putting up. Yeah, maybe please do that.
What that MP user? I didn't understand the last point you were saying.
Yeah, it's a joke. I mean, the option menu is on the deprecating. So iOS have a activity indicator view. That's the same UI, but our in bada option menu is on the deprecating. It's gone away. So, but if you need it, so we are considering more about it to support you for the putting up. Okay. And I list about data view controls in both. The iOS controller have a table view. We have list view, group list view, icon list view. And iOS have image view. It's covered by gallery. I introduced in the morning sessions. Web view covered by the web control. Map view covered by map control, which is location namespaces. And text view covered the text box or edit area. And scroll view is covered by scroll panel. Data picker is edit date. Picker view is not in a bada. But you can implement that if you need it. And also, but in other way around, because this is a different platform, so we have other UI component like a color picker. So it is a bit differentiation it is, but I think you can handle it. Most of them is, almost it's got covered by the UI. So we've seen the UIs, the data view and input views, and the controls. And now I want to introduce how to put the UI component into the platform and connect to the event handler. So iOS have an interface builder. That's a good tool. Okay, button is shown up. And it's connected with the interface builder as interface is linked UI outlet to the method, actually in a delegating method. So connect this UI and delegate via interface builder and connect the outlet and actions, and you can handle with connected class like button presses up source code. So as your iOS developer have your experience, you know that, but I will introduce how the bada is. Bada has a UI builder. UI builder also have many UI components. With the UI builder, you can just drag and drop out in the form and design it, and you can add the listeners, put the bada event handler widget, or just a property, the window. Then you can edit. You just set what listener you need with the UI builders. Then this code is automatically generated from your clicking. So you can see I think it's not seen very well here, but you can see the generated in a first box. It's a generated code is about the listeners. And listener name is action event listener, and having a virtual function name is on action performed. It's clicked by the buttons property and add handler. Then this code is generated of the listener having on action performed. So when the button is clicked, this callback is got called, and you can handle it under the code. And you can see the last line is a bit important, I think. Yes. So this code button will say this add XX listener, add action event to listener, and the pointer this is pointer of the listener. Actually, in this case, form has the listener interface and implemented that interface that is shown up with this pointers. So the listener is registered with this API. This is generated code that you can improve the code as you want. It's a short session, right? I will this is I think it's the first step. The manual guys think You need more, right? This is very first step. I think that you get the feeling about the bada 2.0 can cover your applications, the features, and functions. So it can be handled. So I think you get a feeling it's sufficient to putting your iOS application into bada. I hope so. So we are so eager to that and like to support you with the guide or documentation. So you can refer the API document there. And please visit the developerbada.com articles, dev tips. They have iOS bada technical blogs we have. And also we make an iOS porting guide there. So it have part of a chapter is already uploaded at the developer site, and we are working very hard. And other chapter will soon be delivered to the developer site. So that is around around 100 or that amount of the pages will be coming up with iOS porting guide. You can refer it and you can look into more detail with the API reference and any other developer guide or developer site of the bada. So I think it is helpful for you if you have any experience in iOS development or iOS application. Please do, and don't hesitate putting up your iOS application into bada. Okay, I will. Yes.
What about the file structure?
What? Pardon?
File structure of this iOS apps in the bada.
What structure?
File structure. This is how the file would be arranged within the app.
File structure. I'm sorry. Yeah. File structure is both of the platform have a sandbox manner. They have. So we have the virtual path to access a home directory, recess directory, and other purpose directories. iOS also same. They also sandbox. They are using the virtual path, and they they provide some kind of path to access the files. Is it okay? Is it answered your questions? That file system, yeah.
The files will be stored within the app limit.
Pardon?
In the iOS.
Yeah.
Whatever files are stored within the app limit, means other apps cannot access.
Yes.
Is this available in this bada?
Yes. Sandbox means that. Sandbox means only that application can see the data, but we have also specific folder if you have intent to share the data with your other application, that as a share folder, its name is share. The share folder, you can use that for accessing each other. Okay, it's done. Okay, so are we done the presentation? Yeah, I hope it's very helpful to you. Yeah, thank you very much.